An airport will play the sounds of an airport all around the airport. A dead body was found inside a Goodwill donation bin, and a man that offers to buy crack houses is upsetting the community. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast in the viewable universe, knowable universe, in the universe. An airport is going to insert the sounds of an airport throughout the airport. Seems weird. I've never been at an airport and thought to myself, you know what this airport needs? Some more airport. I don't need more ambiance of an airport when I'm at the airport. I need my connecting flight to be in the same terminal as my arriving flight, please. This story is out of the UK, and it's centered around Heathrow Airport, one of the busiest, if not the busiest airport in the world. It says the hum of an escalator, the rumble of a baggage belt, and hurried footsteps are all interspersed with snippets of the lady on the microphone saying, "Boarding at gate 18." The UK's biggest flight hub plans to make your experience at the airport sound, well, even more like an airport. As if that's not going to be confusing. You have just random announcements. Now boarding gate 18. Wait a minute. Is that really the announcement, or is that the ambience? I'm sorry, I believe it's pronounced ambiance. And in England, it's just pronounced brilliant. Now, for this article, they interviewed somebody named Lee Boyle, who's in charge of the airport's terminals, who says, quote, "Nothing compares to the excitement of stepping foot in the airport for the start of a summer holiday, and our new soundtrack perfectly captures those wonderful feelings." Oh, yeah, what a great idea. Just, multiply the sounds of an airport already. None of us enjoy the sound of an airport, FYI. Did this person take a poll before they made this terrible decision? Yeah, that's what I want to hear more of. Crying babies, couples arguing, the TSA screaming at the travelers to take off their shoes and remove their laptops. Separate bins, damn it. Put your laptop in a separate bin. Everybody knows that. And the sounds of, Floridians punching out airport employees. If you really want to make us enjoy traveling and capture these great feelings that you speak about, just give us a free drink ticket when we arrive at the airport to be used at any bar in the airport before we board a plane. I just came up with this idea. It's fantastic. I'm already spending all this money to utilize your airport's facilities. Give me a free drink ticket. We all want that. That'll relax us. We don't need more sounds of the airport. I'm even okay with that, what is that airport that has an emotional support llama that you can go pet to calm you down at the airport? The airport is a place of stress, all right? I don't want more soundscapes of something that stresses me. You could have picked any other soundscape on Earth. I don't know, like waterfalls, something. Very pleasant flute sounds. I mean, I don't even know how you're going to play these sounds anyways. Anything that's continuously played as far as music or whatever goes at the airport, it's constantly interrupted by the airport announcements anyways. So you're going to play a little bit and then the airport announcement. There's millions of airport announcements that are just going to drown out this soundtrack. Let's keep reading before we judge, right? I'm already judging. It says the Heathrow Airport invited Grammy nominee, musician, multi-instrumentalist, and producer Jordan Rakei to create this soundtrack. I actually like Jordan Rakei very, very much. He performs what I call or writes neo-soul. I like some of his stuff. And they say this is the first ever soundtrack created entirely with the sounds of an airport. However, Heathrow said the track also featured sounds from famous movie scenes, including passengers tapping their feet in Bend It Like Beckham, and the beeps of a security scanner from Love Actually. Yeah, I'm sure people are going to recognize these sounds. You should have used some sounds from the movie Airplane. That'd be hilarious. The blue zone is for loading and unloading passengers only. There's no stopping in the red zone. The red zone is for loading and unloading passengers only. There's no stopping in the blue zone. Listen, don't get me started on this blue zone stuff, all right? I've had enough of your crap. Now it says here the soundscape, the airport ambiance soundtrack also features passports being stamped, the sounds of planes taking off and landing, a little bit of chatter, the ding of an elevator, and the sound of a water fountain, which some people may appreciate as a source of ASMR. Fans of ASMR say certain sounds give them a pleasant tingling sensation. Oh, it all just sounds so lovely and useless and a waste of resources, but who am I? I don't run an airport. Gonna have any hip hop tracks on there? I want to hear some DMX stuff. Where my pilots at? Where my baggage handlers at? Now, look, I appreciate an airport making an effort to give us all a pleasant experience at the airport. It's nice that you acknowledge that it's not a great experience at the airport and you're trying to get us relaxed, but I don't think pumping more airport at us is the answer at all. I'd feel more relaxed if I didn't have to pay $38 for a sandwich and a Red Bull. How about that? How about you fix that? There's some price gouging going on at the airport. I don't know if you guys noticed, those of you who run the airport, but it's a little criminal. I would say it's gangster activity for me to have to pay $9 for a blueberry muffin. But sure, make it all go away with the sound of very heavy bags being dropped onto a conveyor belt. Great idea. A body was found inside a Goodwill store bin in Southern California. A death investigation is underway after a dead body was found inside a Goodwill donation bin in Pasadena, California. Well, he's probably a donor, I'd say. The ultimate donor, really. Just trying to get into the platinum donor program. What's the tax write-off, by the way, if you donate your entire body? Can I get a receipt for that? All right, I mean, I'm jesting about a dead body found in a Goodwill bin, but my goodness, it's really silly and weird, isn't it? The fact that it happened in Pasadena, I mean, someone's trying to get rid of a dead body and they didn't bother to drive out to Azusa, which would have been much more reasonable. I mean, in the world of hiding dead bodies, there's do's and don'ts. I mean, I'm not saying you should hide a dead body, but if you're going to hide a dead body, here's a way you don't do it: in a Goodwill bin. People tend to find it. There is a vast desert just minutes away from Pasadena. Again, I'm not saying you should even be depositing dead bodies anywhere. You should stay out of the dead body business if at all possible, unless you work in a funeral home. That's your livelihood. But if you're gonna dispose of a dead body, this is not a way to do it. Now, as for the details, it says the Pasadena police responded to reports of a dead body discovered at 11 a.m. Tuesday morning. The body was wrapped in a blue tarp and a blanket and was discovered inside a donation bin, along with other items that were left at the store's drop-off area. The victim has been identified only as an adult man, and the police have not released his name or his pronouns yet. The cause of death has also not been revealed, although authorities suspect drugs were involved. The store's exterior was cordoned off by police tape as detectives searched the area for some evidence. Meanwhile, the Pasadena Goodwill put the body in the back next to the used microwaves. Is there a body parts section in a Goodwill? They really will take anything over there. I've covered stories. They're taking World War II missiles. They'll take grandma's ashes. I mean, they'll take a baby if you drop it off, I think. They just want to make money. Goodwill. I have a real beef with Goodwill. I'm so sorry. They shut down their changing rooms in Southern California. You can't try on any of the clothing before you purchase it. And then they have a no return policy. Like, are you okay, Goodwill? Has anyone else experienced this? The Goodwills and Salvation Armies in Southern California during COVID shut down all their dressing rooms. And now since everything's come back, they haven't reopened the dressing rooms. Because why? Well, I'll tell you why. They probably noticed less theft when they didn't have changing rooms. And so now I have to get stuck with something that doesn't fit me. I don't even buy clothes over there anymore because I can't try them on. It's a racket, I tell you. Anyways, that's my personal gripe with Goodwill. So if you'll permit me just a little leeway when it comes to making fun of this organization. I heard the CEO drives a Ferrari and has a private plane, for crying out loud. I mean, these places aren't doing any goodwill whatsoever. They're operating for profit. I don't care what they say on paper. Which is why I joke about, they'll put that dead body out there and sell it for parts. Why wouldn't they? Attention customers, Monday is toe tag day. 50% off toe tags on all bodies and body parts.
Right now, at the Home Depot, you'll find storage solutions made to fit your needs. Grab an HDX Tough Tote to protect your tools. Or keep your sports equipment contained with reinforced snap-fit lids. Or stack up and make better use of your space with bins and totes built to last. Whatever you're storing, we've got the gear to keep it organized and protected at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
A man offering to buy crack houses is angering the community. This story is out of Cleveland, Ohio. Shout out to Jim from Cleveland. Billboards stating, "I buy crack houses," and "If your house is trash, I'll pay cash," have been appearing around Cleveland recently, and some of the neighbors say that these messages are quite offensive. The billboards were put up by a businessman by the name of John Williams. He claims he's investing in these homes in the Cleveland area in order to improve neighborhoods. Here's a quote from Mr. Williams. "What we do is we buy homes. Generally, we buy homes that are dilapidated, abandoned, that are not occupied in general. No one is living in them. But what we do is we buy these properties, we fix up these homes, and then they're affordable housing after that." Now, Cleveland Council President Blaine Griffin said the billboards that Mr. Williams has put up about buying the crack houses are not a very good way to do business in their community. Here's a quote from Mr. Griffin. "Maybe it should be with some people that are reputable, but not with somebody like this coming to clearly make a mockery of our neighborhood." One of the neighbors is also upset. Her name's Lorraine. She says, quote, "Why he picked, yeah, I buy crack houses. We just don't know, but we think it's in poor taste." Now, the media interviewed Mr. Williams about this backlash towards his I buy crack house billboards. He said, quote, "Well, when you mention crack houses or abandoned houses, it just gets attention. It brings attention to the issue, and it also brings in leads, which we could acquire, these properties that are just sitting there. It's a big win for everyone. Some people may say using that specific word, crack house, is not very good, but the properties do exist. We all see them. We all either choose to accept that it is what it is, or we ignore it. It looks like it's been a problem that's been ignored for decades." Mr. Griffin says these billboards are disrespectful, though, and should be taken down immediately. Here's a quote from Mr. Griffin again. "Whenever you talk about your house is trash, we pay cash. And whenever you talk about, well, we will buy your crack houses, and then you come into a predominantly poor African-American community, you're sending a clear message. You're being condescending. You're being demeaning. And I think you're being very disrespectful." I mean, yeah, I agree. Of course it's disrespectful, but I mean, does anyone give a damn? This is capitalism. It's 2025. No, there's no shame anymore. There's no shame anymore. I've walked out to my car on a number of occasions and found a little business card on my windshield that says, "We buy junk cars." That's extremely demeaning and insulting to me and my car, whom I adore. You think she needs to, be called out like this in public? People seeing that she's categorized as a junk car? I don't think that's very nice for her feelings. It insults me as well. I know where I'm at in life. I don't need to be reminded. But, you're not going to catch me going all Karen on the We Buy Junk Cars company. I just understand capitalism the way that it is, especially in the U.S. Is there a more mature way of doing business? Of course there is. But we live in a clickbait society now. People have headlines are rude. Billboards are rude and ridiculous. Have you seen some of the billboards for these comedians? Hey, Big Wins Higgins. There's an insurance billboard down here in Southern California where the woman's breasts are sticking out. It's all cleavage, and then you can kind of see that she's a lawyer at the bottom of it. I mean, there's no shame anymore. I don't know why anyone would expect it to change. You want a free market? You want capitalism? Well, you're going to have to accept all kinds. There's all kinds of business people. And since the dawn of business in the free market, it's been like this. You have your charlatans. You have your people peddling products that aren't even real. There's products out there with rude names. I just covered a story about swamp ass. You remember some of those products? What was it? There's a cream called like Sweaty Balls Be Gone. I mean, this is what you're going to get. There's an energy drink called Tweaker. All right? That's where we're at. This is not out of the ordinary. Is it insulting and degrading? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Like most things. And the other aspect of this, and I can't verify it from this particular article, is this man really converting these empty, abandoned houses into affordable housing for the community? Is that what's going on? Because if it is, he's doing some good to the community. So whatever the means are that he uses to flip abandoned, dangerous buildings that are probably a fire hazard, and some of them are being used as drug dens, being flipped into affordable housing for the community, however means it's done, To me, that justifies it because the end is a great end. Don't you want some of these buildings to then have affordable housing? I'm saying if that's what's happening, you have to question that. A man that uses this approach, is a little unprofessional, and he might not be flipping these into affordable housing. He might be doing something else with the properties. I don't know that. And I certainly don't have the time to go deep dive on, his previous properties and what they are now in the Cleveland area. So going by that, there's just not enough data to really completely judge this activity. But, I'm giving you sort of a slice of what I'm thinking. What do you think? You want to reach out to me? Anyone live in Cleveland other than Jim? I'm sure I'll hear from Jim. Anyways, my email is funnyjones@gmail.com. Phone number 646-450-2012. I'm on Instagram @funnyjones. Don't be shy. And just for the record, I don't buy crack houses, but I do buy crack. Hey-o. Just kidding. I don't condone the crack purchases or anything to do with crack.
Rated T for teen.
Each year, thousands of adults lose their shred. It's an epidemic simply known as shred loss. But it doesn't have to be this way, because rekindling your shred is as easy as playing the new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. With new parks, cross-platform multiplayer, and sick new game modes, we can put an end to shred loss everywhere. Get the new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 and show the world that the shred's not dead. Pre-order Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 and play the Foundry demo.
Hi, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News podcast. I want to thank you so much for getting involved with me and my soundscape. I have a soundscape, too. It's insane news from around the world and my awful commentary on it, which is usually an angry rant about how it's stupid, mixed in with some jokes and some terrible impressions and even the occasional song. So, yeah, that's what Weird AF News is all about. And, the other thing I'm about is giving thanks and praise to those listeners that support me and what I do here, recording a 5-day-a-week podcast inside a closet, which is an insane way to spend someone's life and time. It really is. Anyways, Kelly Cardwell bought me some coffees off my website, weirdafnews.com. This isn't the first time Kelly has purchased coffees. Kelly's been a longtime listener and supporter of the show, so we want to give her a shout-out. I'm going to read her little love note she wrote. Hey, Jonesy. Been a short while since I provided drink funds for you, and it's not entirely unselfish. Hoping you can shout out my daughter Ivy for her 11th birthday. Ooh! So let's give a happy birthday to Ivy. It's her 11th birthday. It's a big deal. The number 11 is a big, big deal. I think you can rent a car soon, right, Ivy? We'll find out. Now, Kelly says that Ivy listens to Weird AF News every night before bed. Can you believe that? Can you believe an 11-year-old, well, a 10-year-old, 11-year-old listens to Weird AF News? I find that fascinating. I didn't know I had any listeners as young as Ivy. So we want to give a shout out to Ivy. I'm grateful for your listenership. It says, Kelly says, I allow her to listen to Weird AF News even when it's risque because the world is too weird and silly not to laugh at. Plus, she's been incredibly sarcastic her entire life. Thank you for being a part of our daily decompression routine. Keep it weird, and good luck with your life, man. Kelly from New York. So shout out to Kelly and Ivy. Happy birthday, Ivy. I hope you have an amazing birthday weekend. I hope you'll continue to listen to Weird AF News into adulthood. Although if this podcast is still going when Ivy is an adult, something went horribly wrong in my life, right? Anyway, I appreciate the Cardwell family and everyone who's supported the show. Shout out to my patrons as well. If you guys want to join the Patreon and be a member of that cool little crew that we have, big fans of WAFN in the Patreon, just go to weirdafnews.com or go to patreon.com/weirdafnews. Now, one last announcement. Tomorrow's Friday, so I'm only going to be doing weird news from Florida. If you'd like to send me Florida news from this week that you think is appropriate for the Florida Friday episode, I would be grateful, and I would be welcoming your news with open arms. Dun, 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 dun. My email is funnyjones@gmail.com, or you can slip that Florida news into my Instagram @funnyjones if you want to do it that way, if you're slick. Anyways, we'll see you tomorrow for the Florida Friday episode. Appreciate you, appreciate your time, and good luck with your life, man.